That sounds good too.
Welcome, sacred soul, and let's breathe into this moment together. Welcome to the Abundant Mind with Yogi Gee, and I'm your host, Yogi Gee.
And grand evening, everyone. Tonight we are on another episode. It's our second episode of the Abundant Mind with Yogi G. And as I do here, as I always say, I like to give my flowers to my brothers and sisters that are out there that are passing on their information, they're passing on their wisdom, they're passing on their knowledge, and explaining to us, or at least walking us through what they like to consider part of their hero's journey that brought them to this point to where they are now teaching us what they have learned. So tonight's guest is brother Ed Underwood. And Ed Underwood has, I've met this brother kind of, I guess you can say technology wise, we haven't actually met physically, but we have sat in a few conversations amongst like-minded people, and
Mhm.
we kind of share the same energy and the same process and thinking of how the gifts that we have been given that we want to now contribute back to the universe and teach the world something that we've learned that can benefit you and me. And he's going to show you the proof that it's benefited him and others that he has touched base with. And soon, me and this brother, we're going to sit down because I believe I have a project that will benefit, that his project will benefit mine. So, the proof will be in the pudding, as they say, in due time, in divine timing, as we say. So let me bring in brother Ed, and he's going to give us just a small brief description of who he is and what he's come to do tonight. And then we'll get into some questions.
Okay.
Ed, go for it, brother.
Oh man, thank you, Yogi. Appreciate that, man. Hey,
Thank
even in that little intro that you just gave, the hero's journey. I mean, isn't that what we all on? I mean, I always say knowing is half the battle,
you. Right.
and once you realize that, man, and I think that's when the journey really begins. Then another thing is like our virtual connection that we had in the groups and we sat in. I just had a flashback of some of those Sunday morning meetings,
Yes.
and we had a we. It's interesting how for a while there I thought that it was hard to connect with people over the internet, like Zooms
Yes.
and stuff like that, but
I'm here.
it is possible, man, and I'm glad that I got over that barrier, that obstacle, because or elsewise we wouldn't be here and we wouldn't have the connections that we had. So that's good, man. And the timing is right, man. So the timing is everything. And I thank you for having this platform and for having me on there. So everything's working out according to plan.
Well, I appreciate you coming through. And this is what I'm talking about, y'all. Yes, yes. So when they out here and they're telling y'all that these fathers aren't in their home, you could just got a visual. You got real time right there. You know what I'm saying? Our fathers are here.
Yeah, that's
We
for
holding
sure.
it down. Just understand it. So that was lovely. I appreciate that, man. That brings a lot of love and joy into my heart to see that. But you touched on the obstacle that I think a lot of us, especially in our age range, that we're fighting. We're fighting the obstacle of communicating and meeting with people online, like-minded people. We're from the generation where we got out. We were outside and we met people in that manner.
Yeah,
The only way you met somebody in California if you didn't write them a letter, a handwritten letter, you got on a plane, train, or car, you got to see them that way, but that cost you a little bread. So 9 times out of 10, if they weren't in your vicinity, you didn't really get a chance to communicate with them and link with them. So, that's a very, very good point that we need to address and bring to the forefront of those at our age, that they need to get into these platforms and speak
Right.
what they want, and not to be scared. Because I'm gonna be honest, I was terrified to get on this thing. It took me a while to get onto this microphone and sit in front of this camera and act like I know what I'm doing. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah. I
So
feel you. It's definitely a charge or a feeling that you get when you try to get into something new.
yeah,
But you know, you could call it what you want. You could call it fear. You could call it anxiety. But
right,
what I say is it's always there. It's always
hmm,
going to be there when you're trying to level up.
right,
When you're trying to level up, you're going to get that feeling, and that's when you're supposed to you try to lean into that
hmm,
ever so gently. You be
right,
careful you don't fall off the cliff, but you got to lean into it toward that direction because that energy is what's it's what you need to overcome. Because
right.
you see what on the other side of that, man. It's all pleasure on the other side.
That's what they say. Or so going into that, can you share a pivotal moment in your journey that awoken you to this movement, to really just kind of cultivating this idea that you have right now that you're sitting on?
Well, listen, man. I put in a lot of work with this, as you know, and
Yes.
even before then. And I realized that my whole upbringing uh, really brought me to the point where I guess I assumed the personality, I assumed my identity of who I was,
Correct.
and I didn't appreciate where the system dropped me off at.
Right.
So I knew that I put in the work, and I knew that I was always taught to do my best,
Hmm.
and my best was always it was always good enough to to make me satisfied. I mean, I wasn't never really out to try to you know win no Nobel Peace Prize, but I would like to get along with the people around me. I like to do well in the things that I do. But in putting all that stuff in, I ended up getting shuffled through high school,
Hmm.
entered into college. Was I wanted to follow my father's footsteps and
Okay.
be an environmental scientist,
Wow. Okay.
but I
So.
was totally unprepared for all the classes, the entry level classes, to take that course. So I
I see.
had to fall back to some pre courses, which I still wasn't prepared for from high school.
Hmm.
So, so I went through my first stint at college, and I was stumbled through, and I really didn't know what I was doing. I got on academic probation, worked myself off of academic probation.
Hmm.
Then financial aid started coming and kicking in. It was getting all funny,
Right.
and I came back one semester. They said you could continue your courses, but you got to pay for this semester and last semester. And so I said, well, I don't have that, so thank you very much. And then I went back to the crib.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and when I got back to the crib, I was working at the mill. I didn't
Hmm.
never picture that. I never envisioned working at the mill.
Right.
And I was coaching football, and I was pretty good at football in high school.
Okay.
And I was coaching these children around my way. And I said to myself, this was my moment. I said, man, if I don't help these children from falling through the cracks like I did,
Mm.
and I know for a fact that these children I'm coaching do not have the family background that
Hmm.
I
Right.
so I got coached at home. My father and my mother was there, you know, and I knew these children didn't have that. So if
Right.
somebody didn't do something, then they was going to be lost in the sauce. And even right now, I wish that I could go back to that time and
Right.
give those children and those students what I come up with after these 20, 25 years
Ooh.
of putting in work. And I come up with this methodology I call the thought purity method. And that's what when I met you. That's when I joined our UX 90 group, and I said, "Listen, I'm in this because I got to be able to formulate this and
Right.
be able to package it so people can understand what I'm trying to talk about."
Right,
And
right.
I was finally able to do that. And now I'm to the point where I'm talking to you and whoever else. We could get this out there because people need to understand who they are so they can stop being told what they are by a system and people that don't know them and all that other stuff.
Yes, let's give a shout out to Urban X, the Urban X family.
Yes,
You
indeed.
at 90. That's what I said. That's where we got our roots from.
Yeah.
And we are the extended branches of that
Along with the
family,
Bowser family.
of the Bowser family. Yes, so we're gonna extend this on. And I mean that's powerful. So I can pretty much I mean, I had my father in my life as well. He was very pivotal in how I maneuvered through the world, especially dealing with high school through college. So I can see where you kind of had a grounding at that age to understand that there was a bigger picture for you to fill.
Absolutely.
You know, so
Right.
it may have taken 25 years, but it's almost like 25 years on time.
Hey, I couldn't be, I'm where I'm at now because everything happens for a reason.
Exactly. So with
So,
that, give us a give us a small or give us a taste of what Touchstone Learning Solutions actually is so everybody can because me and you I know I've heard it. I was there in some of the phases of you speaking on it inside the group, so I'm a little ahead of the pack. So let's give those who don't know and who need to know and who will resonate with you with this uh,
okay.
company you have built.
All right. Let's start with the name.
Yes.
So I when I went to college, I was going to be an environmental scientist, and then when I was coaching those children, I looked around and I decided to use my college credits to go back and get a teaching degree.
Oh,
And
nice.
so I got my teaching degree. I went through college. I got my teaching degree, and I was teaching Spanish from K through 12.
Mm,
And I got my degree. And right when I graduated, they changed the rules because I was going to move into a teaching position because of my degree and my association with the schools. But the rules changed and said that you had to have a certificate of student teaching from a university. So I
okay.
had to go back to school and get another degree
Mm,
in elementary education, K through 6. So now
wow.
I got a degree in K in Spanish, and with that I got social linguistics and started studying language. And social linguistics is really interesting how people talk with each other. Then
Yeah.
I started teaching. I really was interested in teaching the youth because I wanted to reach them before the system got a hold of them.
Yes.
But Yogi, let me tell you something, man. The system is so scientific now, you can't do it. We can't do it. There's no. I had to get out of the system,
Yeah.
and so the system actually moved me out of there because there was some stuff that was going on that that's for another time. But
That's
so
that's enough for another show, right?
for another time. So in all of that,
Mhm.
um, I developed an approach, and my approach turned in from my style turned into an approach, and then my approach was like everybody would seem to resonate with my teaching style.
Okay.
So I was like, I ran my own tutoring service for a while, and I would meet with people online, and I'd help them in a number of ways, and then I counsel people. So then I started taking it up. I started trying to package my ideology, and like I said, about last October, I had come to the point where I was starting to market it. And
Okay.
I showed this lady from my neighborhood, and she said, "This is amazing.
Mhm.
Come down to join this health fair. Just come down. It was 3 days
Right.
notice. Come down with health flyers and stuff." And people were asking me, they was like, Is this approach only for children?"
Right.
And I was like, well, in my mind, I was like, I really want it for all people, but I was trying to use the children to
Mhm.
reach the parents because everybody wants their child to do the best. But
Right.
like we was talking about timing, and these days and times, man, people understand that they've been shorted by the system. So
Yeah.
everybody is looking and reaching and searching for something. And so I was able to, from that event down there, when people started coming up to me and saying, "Is this for only for children?" I stepped back and I said, "Well, wait a minute. I think I got something here that's a little bit more than I thought,
Right.
because a
Right.
lot of people is being drawn to it." And
Okay.
so from there, I started connecting with different people, and I set myself up to patent this this approach and this methodology that consists of 7 components.
Okay.
And this the idea is to identify your motivation, how you take in information, and
Mhm.
how you have to activate your mind
Okay.
so that you could overcome learning obstacles.
Ooh.
Because if you don't have those 3 things, if you don't know why you're motivated and how to use that motivation, and then you don't know how you acquire information the best way,
Mhm.
and because we're flooded with information in these days
Okay.
and times,
Yeah.
so you need to be able to streamline that so you can get what you need and what's going to serve you.
Mm.
And you have to have your mind muscle up and know what you're searching for this information for. Are you looking for a personal connection? Are you
Right.
the type of person that looks for information just for, like, you want to know how stuff works?
Mhm.
You might want to know what things are. You might want to know the details and the intricate, you know,
The
small
intricate.
little abstract details of a thing that might drive you. Or you
Right.
might want to be the type of person that says, look, if I take time to learn this, what else can I do with it?
Right.
Those are the dynamic learners. So once you have that understanding of yourself, then that answers a whole lot of questions.
Mm.
Then you take that information, which is not enough, because you have to give yourself, there's a framework of critical thinking that has
Mm.
actually been removed from the school system, from
Yeah.
public knowledge, for that matter.
Altogether, yeah.
And it's called the trivium. And the
Oh,
trivium is a Greek word.
okay.
And the trivium means a place where 3 roads meet. Okay.
Trivia. A place with
And those
3.
3 roads
Okay.
are knowledge, understanding, and wisdom.
Mm.
Where knowledge, understanding, and wisdom meet, there you have truth.
Mhm.
Okay. So there's a systematic method of going about getting the knowledge, where you gather the information and
Okay.
you do it without bias,
Right.
objectively, just gather the information. Once you have the information, you sort through that information and you throw out the things that contradict each other. You throw out the errors in thinking, your fallacies, and you throw out things that just don't jive. And now you have an understanding of the knowledge. And from there, your output, or the wisdom, is just a natural progression from knowledge plus understanding equals wisdom. And the wisdom is your desired output, your desired outcome, your goal, whatever it is that you want to produce. You
Mhm.
gather that information on that, sort that information out. And then if your product doesn't turn out quite right, you could go back. It may be something you don't understand. It might be something that's contradicting in there. That's
Right.
that second phase. Or you might need some more information. So
Mhm.
you go to back to the knowledge stage, something you might have been missing. And that cycle repeats itself.
Right.
And it streamlines your learning. It takes what you're going to study in 2 hours, narrows it down to a half an hour,
Wow.
and it gets you to the place where your mind starts practicing with this method. And when you see things, you gather information, process it. You could use it or put it on the shelf, but you have that available to you because you've stored it in your mind, and you know why. From the first part, you know why that information is important to
So you're training your brain to siphon out nonsense information.
you. Everybody needs a system. We all working on a system. So what you said is true. And my methodology goes the further, because once you incorporate these components, like the trivium, the next component is Socratic questioning. You have to eliminate. Socrates was developed back in Greek times, and they used to stand in the middle of a circle or a square and
Mhm.
claim that you knew something, and
Okay.
the spectators would drill you, and they
Right.
would give you questions to make sure you would stand on your square and you was sure about what you were talking about.
So
And
that term
that's the
comes.
type of questioning you have to ask yourself. You have to go above and beyond what you think you know so you could get to the truth, because the mind will play tricks on you. The
Right.
mind
Correct.
will play tricks on you. And
Yeah,
if
because
you
there's
don't
a
learn
lot
to
of difference
harness that and
between
use
reality and fantasy.
exactly.
Right.
So those questioning, there's 6 areas that those questions eliminate assumptions, you know, eliminate biases,
Mhm.
eliminate contradictions. Those all areas is incorporated. Now, the next part of my methodology is what I come up with. I call it the 12 principles of learning. And now,
Mm.
principles meaning the fundamentals, the foundation,
Right.
the bottom line. And the bottom line is you have to be doing these 12 things in order to learn. And if you're not curious, if you're not practicing love, if you're not practicing balance, if you're not practicing scholarship, there's
Yeah.
12 of them.
Okay.
And those are balanced out by what is actually missing from almost every educational system or that I've seen. And
Right.
that's values and virtues, which add the ethical component to this methodology. Because okay, you got the knowledge, understanding, and wisdom, and you got the questions to make sure that you got the truth, and all of
Mhm.
that stuff is great. But just because you can do something doesn't necessarily mean that you should do something. And these
Mm.
values and virtues go along with that, because the values are what you seek to gain.
Right.
That's what you want when you seek values. You you seek to attain that value. Okay,
Correct.
and our values basically are spread all over the place, and they don't lead to people are
Mhm.
chasing waterfalls.
Yes.
So in learning, you want to value clarity, you
Mhm.
value understanding, you
Yes.
value being able to express yourself.
Mhm.
So in order to get those things, then comes the virtues, which are the things that you have to do if you want to reach those values, you want to attain those values, you have
Mhm.
to be open. You have to be open to the fact that you may have been miseducated. You
Right.
know,
Yes.
you might, and there's all kind of the virtues. There's 12 virtues that match, but once you get this methodology and understand, it expands.
Yes.
Everything is meant to expand, so those virtues are all encompassing. So
Mhm.
you can't look to cheat someone else and claim you're trying to achieve a value, which means you're not living by the principle.
Ooh.
So
Ooh.
it's
Yeah.
it's like juggling. You want to live right, you want to learn. You
You got to
can't
do
learn
right.
to try to take advantage of someone.
Right.
That you got to
Yeah.
stop that.
Yeah. The hustle.
Right.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you said.
At this
Right.
point, at the beginning, I forgot to tell you, I developed an assessment. That's how I. That's how you. That's how I get the information on your learning motivation, your
Yeah.
style, and your
Okay.
preference. And the assessment also identifies your your learning obstacles, whether
Okay.
it's coming from your environment.
Right.
It could be something in your environment that's stopping you from learning. It
Mm.
could be your behaviors. Some
Right.
people procrastinate. A lot of people saying I procrastinate. Well, there's a reason why you procrastinate. A lot
Yes.
of people say they want they're frustrated and they can't realize their dreams because they don't have the skills
Mm.
necessary. They might have I would like to do this, but I don't have the skills. I can't
Right.
acquire those skills, so they got to dumb it down. And when you got to dumb it down and dial back your dreams and aspirations, that's when you start getting sick. You start
Right.
getting sick on the inside, one way or the other.
One way or the
That's got to
other.
come out. And because people have to, their values have to be set. You have to
Mhm.
have clear values that are the idea about values is who's it going to benefit? Is it are you chasing values that's going to benefit other people, or are you doing chasing things, uh, looking to attain values that's going to benefit you and yours?
Mm.
Because that's where the waterfalls come in, and you start
Right.
chasing. Once you get it, you upset that you got it, and now you don't have nothing to do with it.
Ooh. Ed, you talking directly to me. I understand. I appreciate what you're saying because it's hitting home in many different ways. I'm talking positive ways, nothing negative in no shape or fashion, because I'm on this journey as well. So it's like I can equate it to meditation and how I studied meditation and how you have to deal with self. You have to acknowledge self and you have to acknowledge, I mean, basically to be authentic, you have to hold yourself accountable for every step that you take, for every reaction and for every action. So, like I said, I know for a fact that we're going to have to definitely sit down and talk a little bit more because I believe that in teaching meditation, the hardest part that a lot of people have is going into self and becoming that authentic person. You
Hmm.
know, I like the 12 steps and probably would integrate that into my teachings because there are principles and values that you have to have in order to delve into that darkness and then emerge, with light and not to consume yourself in that darkness when you go down in there to open it up and get to the root of the problem.
You're right as far as the connection part that
Mhm.
me and you have to do, because I tell people all the time. I hear people, they come down on themselves. They get mad on themselves and talk negative, like, I always put stuff off to the last minute, or I do this, and I say, hold up.
Mhm.
If you keep doing that over and over again, there's something there.
Yeah.
So if, like, I gave a counsel the other day, she was upset because she said she finds herself procrastinating all the time.
Right.
I said, listen, if this is your pattern, let's take advantage of it. If you know that you have a project due, put it on the calendar so that
Mhm.
it doesn't sneak up on you.
Right.
Do a little bit here, or do a little bit here. You don't
That's
have
it.
to write anything down. You don't have to do anything. But you know that at that day, when you sit down like you normally do and
Right.
cram it out, but now you thought about it, your mind has chewed on it for a little while, and you're going to produce the same way you've been doing it all the other time because you do it all the time. And
That's
you
it.
pressure yourself, and then you
You get the
submit it.
result you're looking for anyway, though.
Right. So just roll with the flow. There's no need to try to reinvent the wheel. God put you here, and you are you for a reason.
That's it.
So
You gotta change
just
your
roll with it.
perception. Gotta change your perception of how you're looking at what you're looking at.
When you go to school and you sit down
Mhm.
from kindergarten to 12th grade, that's
Right.
15,000 hours of
Mm.
public school indoctrination.
Exactly.
And here's how they get you, Yogi.
Mhm.
They sit the children down, the elementary, the preschoolers, and they
Right.
say, "Okay, boys and girls," they're all excited to be there, and they say, "What do you know about this?" And
Right.
all the kids, they raise their hand and they're so excited, and they got all these ideas and dreams, and
Mhm.
the teacher says, "No,
Yep.
that's
So
not it." And then they start writing on the board, and then the students start looking like, "Oh, I didn't know this was it. I thought I had it." And you do
right.
that long enough, how
They
long you
stop.
got? Listen, one thing I know I learned is that human nature is programmable.
Yes, it is.
You know,
Yes, it
you
is.
could program a human the same way you can program a machine.
Exactly. I say, you gotta
Basically,
repeat something 3 times to somebody, and it's locked into their subconscious.
and so the stuff that they do about miseducation in the school gets
Mhm.
people to look down on themselves and tell themselves that they're stupid and they can't do this and they can't do that. And that's exactly where they would like the powers that can be
Uh,
named would
that's
like
it.
to keep you.
Mhm.
But that's not my journey. And why I'm here is to tell these people that listen, you get with me and you
Mhm.
take this assessment, and the assessment is is valuable in itself. It gets you to think about yourself. The
Mhm.
questions make you be like. Some people thought they went into it saying, "I thought I was a visual learner," but it turns out that I get more information from listening to
Mhm.
audio, and
Yep.
sometimes it's a combination. But that part right there is valuable. But
Right.
when I give you the breakdown of how to put that into the framework, then that gives you absolutely no excuse for you to say that you can't learn a new skill or you can't acquire a skill or do change your career or do something that you want to do
Right.
because these are all the tools that go into you. So
Yes.
when people take assessments, that information goes off somewhere and you never see it again, and they use it against you. As a matter of
That's
fact,
it. Yep.
but
They
I want you to take it and then I'll give it back to you, and I'll say this is a blueprint.
right.
These are the questions you ask yourself when you're feeling frustrated. These
Mhm.
are the questions because learning only comes after questions. You know, a period shuts it down, but a question mark opens it up.
Right.
So when what do you have to do when you're faced with information and you might have to, like we were saying, present it to the public?
Right.
You know, there for people who's motivated by affiliation,
Mhm.
they want to be a part of a group. That person, you can say, look, if that's the case and you want the group to perform the best, then you have to bring the best information to the group.
There you go.
If you're motivated by power, you want to be the leader. Well, the people you lead, it's your responsibility.
That's it.
So you want to get the information. Some people are just driven by achievement. They want to set their own goals.
Right.
Well, then you got to set goals that's
Achievable.
challenging enough
Mhm.
and to have a positive outcome to make it worth your while. Because
Right.
anything less, you're going to be depressed. It's not going to be worth your while. You're not
Mhm.
going to be energized to do anything. So
Right.
let's take that and use it
Mhm.
and, do as thou will.
I'm giving you the keys to the car. It's your turn to drive.
That's right. I don't want to, like, when I went back to school, I knew that I
Mhm.
did not want to sit in front of a classroom and tell people what to do for
Right.
20, 30 years. That is, I want to show you what you need to know, and then we can go do it together. You can go do it your own self or whatever, but we got to get outside that system. That's all I
Right.
know.
I mean, but from what I believe and from the history that I've been told, that's pretty much how we did it back in the day. You were given the information, and then you took that information and you went with it. But you had to go to elder who had that information to give you the true information. You couldn't just go to anybody. So it's like I don't know if I'm missing a point here or making a
No,
point.
no. What you're saying is, as what I'm hearing is
Uh-huh.
because that information was passed on from lips to ear, but it was valued.
Okay.
It was
Like
valued. So if you had to go seek it out because it was valued.
yeah,
But
there you go.
now if you got the information in your pocket and we just coming out of the information age is floating all around, that
Yeah.
stuff is dirt cheap. But
Mhm.
like I said before, I say it again, information is not knowledge.
Mhm.
The information is not knowledge. There's levels to
Explain
this.
that.
There's
Explain
data.
that. Break it down. I like that. Break it down.
There's
Information is
data.
not knowledge.
Data
Yeah.
is all around us.
Right.
You take that data and
Mhm.
you put it in formation,
Okay.
and now you can use that data.
Mhm.
But before when it was just data, you look around, you see it everywhere, but you got to get it in formation if you want to be able to use it. Now
Mhm.
you can use that once you got it in formation, then it can become knowledge.
Okay.
And then from that knowledge, there's more. You got to turn that into wisdom. because knowledge is only power when it's used or
Mhm.
shared. You
Mm.
know, you can share knowledge and it becomes wisdom, and you can use knowledge and it becomes wisdom. But information is not knowledge. Floating all this information we got floating around, and you can see how many people don't ever underestimate the number of stupid people and the power of stupid people.
And the power, and usually they're the
So
lowest. So,
yeah,
the
so
people.
that's where we at. That's where we at, and I say I believe genius is all around us.
Oh, yes, it is. Yes, yes, it is. Genius is. Oh, it's,
And imagination, if you have a reason
mm-hmm.
and you put imagination to it,
Mm-hmm.
that's the recipe for genius. Reason plus imagination equals genius. Okay.
So,
So when people see it, they get surprised, like, wow, I
mm-hmm.
didn't know that. But you didn't stop to realize that you have a reason. There's
Mm-hmm.
something in you that you really want to bring out, but you just ain't you've been put all this stuff is put on top of us by the system. By you got to go to work all these hours, you got this, that, and other. But like I said, my family and my background, I'm blessed, and I was able to fall back
Mm.
and think,
Yeah, and
think
actually
yeah,
think.
man, because it's
It's
crazy, man.
it's hard to think out here now, just to find a piece of silence, just so you can just clear your brain and honestly think. It is.
I'll tell you what, Yogi, I prayed and I asked and I worked and I said, listen, I want to be able to tap in and be able to help people because this is not right. This is just not
Mhm.
right.
It's not. I felt it in, like, going through my journey. I had a family member that passed away during the COVID. My youngest cousin, very close, and that's really what threw me into my journey of just having to go through, therapy and
Hmm.
uh, what's the other one, but grieving, like dealing with a grievance counselor
Yeah.
and kind of embodying everything. And then just, like, kind of stumbling into meditation during that, because I was like, "I gotta figure out a way to balance my mental and my physical right now." I mean, I was all off. I was completely off. So
Hmm.
when the door opened up and meditation was the path that I chose, because there's many paths you can go. I could have stayed in therapy like most people do, but I don't, honestly, I don't believe you should be a lifer in therapy. If
Yeah.
you're there for a long period of time, I don't think the therapist is doing what they're doing and you're giving your money away. Finding the root cause is what the therapist should be there for.
Right.
So prolonging that, it shouldn't take that long for you to understand what somebody's issue is.
Right. Yeah.
So once but I must say this though, with the caveat that the therapist that I had was a realistic therapist. They wasn't whitewashed by the system.
That
So
you got now. I wonder
yeah,
what would happen if you would have had another type of therapist that was trying to run you down the line.
I've always been a free thinker, and I've always been one of those people. I can sit in a situation for a minute and then it'll click, like, okay, this is not right. There's
Mhm.
like
The
there's something.
discernment, the
Yeah,
discernment.
I've always had it since a kid, and I tap into it more now as an adult. But yeah, that level of discernment is just like, after a while, I just know that the human mind and the human body only works a certain way.
Right.
So once you telling me that we go in this direction, then I'm like, "Nah, it just doesn't work that way." Like, I'm not a pill taker. Like, I don't even take aspirin. I barely take aspirin. Like, my headache has to be just
Mhm.
just off the chart for me to put an aspirin in me. So it's like, I understand the chemical balance of the human body. And if I
You
throw
know,
too many drugs in my body, it offsets that chemical balance. So if my chemical balance is off, that means my thinking's off, my emotions are off, my movements are off. So I try to stay sound body and mind. That's just where it's becoming for me. So I stopped drinking just to keep that balance. But I do smoke, so I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm perfect, that I don't do anything to offset my balance. But for me, just I got to have that level of control over my mental.
Yeah, that's understandable because that's what I mean. It's your chariot. I mean, you working it.
Yeah.
I'm hearing over this last year that a lot of people are starting to realize that the system, the healthcare system,
Mhm.
school system,
Yeah.
the judicial system, all the systems are breaking down, man. And I'm like, these are exciting, amazing times.
Oh, these are great times. These are great times for people that have the natural ability to teach. This is the time for the teachers, the healers, the seekers. This is that time. So I'm honestly honored that you are blessing me with your wisdom and knowledge tonight, and to be able to actually put this out to the rest of the world. So, and I'm praying that you can get two or three people from me, from the energy that I flow, that just taps into you, because I think that what you're doing and knowing you is coming from a real place. You're not out here trying to hustle people for a quick dollar. You're really focusing on the fact that this form of knowledge, excuse me, this form of teaching must be taught.
Yeah,
Not an option. It's really not an option. Like, we all have to find a different way, because this system has shown us time and time again that it's not working for
yeah,
us.
man. Just like for instance, you're right. This is graduation season, right?
Here we go.
So what are they graduating and what are they moving into? What did they learn? What did they learn that's going to move them into the next phase of their life? That's going to give them an edge.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know.
I wish I can tell you. I
I don't know.
wish I can tell you. I don't have a clue either. But this is where people like us step in,
Yeah,
and we hopefully we can show them the way. And if they want to learn, they learn.
yeah.
I also realize that we're also in an age where a lot of people don't care no more. They don't care to learn. They
Hey,
so
Yogi, a friend of mine told me.
they so
He gave me a
confused
good
right
example.
now. Go ahead.
A friend he said that a friend that his friend was a rescue worker.
Hmm.
And when he's dropping into the ocean and people's drowning and stuff, he said he asked him, how do you know who to save?
Right.
He said, I save the ones who's not fighting me.
Mm, there you
I
go.
save the ones who know that they need help and they calling me. He said
Hmm.
those are the ones I go save. So that's what I'm thinking when we go out there. We can save the ones who want to get saved and who's not going to hurt you,
Hmm.
kicking
Yeah,
and flailing and stuff when you're trying to save them. You can't
trying to
save them.
drown you. Yeah, and trying to
So
drown, pull you down while
yeah,
you're trying
yeah.
to lift them up.
People
It,
who want to get saved, this the thought purity method. You like
mm,
even for your meditation course.
right.
I've been meditating for I can't even remember. I don't even know
Yeah.
when I started. I
Hmm.
don't know. But
Right.
for some people, like I said, just the motivation of it,
Yeah.
power, affiliation, or achievement.
Hmm.
Okay, where you gonna get your power from, bro? You better tap in. You motivated by power? You only gonna get it from one place. You want to
Yeah.
be affiliated with something? Well, what
Really.
what would you rather be affiliated with?
Ooh.
You
So.
want to you want to achieve a thing? How you
Hmm.
gonna achieve a thing without tapping in?
Mm.
You
That's
want to achieve something on this level is not gonna last. It's not gonna endure. You got
it's
to
not.
go up to the next level if you
Hmm.
want to create something that's gonna endure for that. So
Wow. Okay.
that's how
So
that goes, man.
wow, that's good, because that brings us full circle, because it leads me into the one of my questions is, do you have a morning or evening ritual? Being that you brought up meditation, do
Hmm.
you have one, or is it like so like secondary now that it's just like kind of you just get up and do it and you go, and you really don't have to even think about
I gotta listen. I pay attention, man. You gotta pay attention.
Yes.
So I get up
Present.
and I get up and I deliberately pray
Mhm.
for 15 minutes, and then
Nice.
I go into my writing and my reading, and then I start my day.
Nice.
But my main thing is that I learned is that the first part of the day is mine. It's for me.
Mhm.
After that, anything goes. After that, if I don't get that me time in,
What
you
you
don't
eat?
want to meet that Ed. That's
Yeah.
not cool, Ed. So I
Yeah.
handle that so I could go out and be the best me that I can because why
Yeah.
not?
No, I get that too. I no, trust me, I definitely understand. Mine is up. I make my wife her coffee, take the dogs out for their little walk. Hopefully the sun's up. If the sun's up, then I get a little, sun rays there. She gets off to work, dogs are settled. I go in for like a 45-minute meditation where I just go completely silent. I have some music or I'll have a guided meditation or something. And then after that, I jump up, I jump into the computer and I start working on either producing my own personal guided meditations or I'm trying to, figure out ways of putting my class together and, working on my other project that I have going on. And I'll announce a little bit later in time because I'm still formulating that. But, you know, that's what I'm working on right now. I'm working on my freedom, as they
Hey,
say.
I'm right there with you. Do you when you say I know you do guided meditations, do you listen to your own guided meditation?
Oh, yes, I do.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I do that. I make some recordings and
Yeah.
I do that also.
Yeah.
That's
No, that's actually
powerful.
part of my class. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's like one of the techniques that I say like for audio learners.
Mm-hmm.
You record yourself reading and then play it back.
That's it.
You know what I mean? Any little trick you could do, you just got to take advantage of it and jump on it.
Ed, I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you a quick story. My father was off work for 1 week. I had a history exam coming up, and he was testing. My parents would always test me. They make me go study, and then they grab the book themselves, and then they'll read up on it, and then they'll throw me a little quick little study to make sure I knew what I was doing.
Right.
So this one particular week, like my father worked more than 60 hours a week, so he wasn't home all the time with me doing my homework. Either my brother helped or my mother helped, or I just figured it out on my own because I was a pretty smart kid. But this one particular week, he was home with me, and he was just going back and forth, and I couldn't get the answers for the life of me. I would go back, I would read a chapter, go back to him, read a chapter again, and he just like, I don't. He said, I don't get it, bro. He said, you sit in that room and you recite every rap song, every R&B song. He
Yep.
said, you singing songs from my generation, your grandmother's generation. He said, but you can't remember this history. He said, you know what? He said, I got an idea. He went and got a little mini recorder. And he said, you go do me a favor. He said, you read this chapter into this mini recorder. And then you sit back and you listen to what you just said. He said, and then you come back. I promise you. I went straight A's after that in history.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
My father figured that out back in the early in my childhood. He's like, oh, he said, I got it. He said, you an audio learner. He said, yeah.
Yeah.
He said, you're visual. He said, you'll learn stuff visually. He said, you ain't got a problem with it. He said, but no. He said, you need to listen. And ever since then, I mean, I can songs that I shouldn't know, I know.
Yeah.
Just off of
Let me
hearing.
ask you something. In your memory,
Mhm.
when you recall something, do you remember where you were when you heard it?
Yeah.
That's what like so
Yeah.
so people who write,
Mhm.
they remember where they wrote it down in their notebooks, you
Mhm.
know. And visual learners, they remember colors and posters and patterns naturally.
Bro, I remember feelings. Like songs bring out like music is my muse.
Yeah.
Like if my rage is up here, I can put music on it and it bring me down here. If I'm down here, I can put music on and it'll bring me up here. It can mellow me out. It can put me in. I mean, like I all day at work. I mean, like I tell people, I'm not a singer, but I like to sing because I like music.
Right.
So my I stretch all genres. I don't discriminate against any music if it feels good, if it's got a good message, I'm on it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Or audio, forget about. I hear stuff like the clairsentient, clairaudient, all of that stuff floats with me because I can hear music when there's no music playing. So,
Well, that would be music playing, but nobody else can hear it except for you.
that's it. It's in me. Like the music is in me. Like it's just I get goosebumps when I'm listening to music. Like music can touch me emotionally as well. I can hear a jazz. I can hear an orchestra. Like if they're playing melancholy or sad song, I know where they're going with that song. I can feel it in the tones and the sounds and the harmonics. So
Yeah,
I got one of those ears.
yeah, you hear the story in the song.
Hmm. Oh yeah, I can even see the story in a song, and that's the crazy part to me sometimes. So I love jazz. I love instrumentals.
You
Oh, go
don't
ahead.
write? You don't write music?
I used to when I was younger. I used to write music. Yeah, I used to write poetry. I used to write music, but now I'm putting it into the meditation.
Yeah, I could
So
tell for
yeah,
sure.
thank you.
Yeah,
I
I was missing the one that our meeting Sunday.
Yeah, we decided for Mother's Day we was gonna chill out because I
Nice,
hit her and
man.
I'm like checking on her, making sure everything was good, and she was like, "Oh, I was thinking like maybe Mother's Day," and I'm like, "You know what?" I said, I'm good with that." I said because we do have mothers in the building as well, and we don't know if people are traveling and things like that. So, but we're gonna be together this weekend. Radiant Rising Sundays or Sunday Radiant Risings 9:33 a.m. I'll leave the Zoom link in the chat if you guys want to catch up with us. You
You want
get
to do yourself a favor and get your mind right. Then you need to tap in.
gotta tap in, gotta tap in. We get a guided meditation. Get a family, just love family of beautiful people that get together on Sundays, and we just try to pass positive energy and positive information to each other and support each other. The number one thing to keep this energy flowing, keep this Aquarius energy flowing as we roll through this season here. Brother Ed, um, man, you've always wowed me in the meetings, with the Urban X meetings, and today you've done it again. I truly appreciate speaking with you. Like I said, I'm honored. I am truly grateful, and I carry nothing but gratitude and love for you, brother. Like
It's all return, my man. It's all return.
I
It's
think what
reciprocal.
you're doing, yes, I believe what you're doing is a beautiful thing. And if people do tap into it, I don't see why they cannot benefit from it one way or another. If they don't get the physical lesson, I hope they get the spiritual lesson that you are giving out, like the virtues. Like you guys, like, when you tap into this, I think this is going to open up more than just what you think it is. It may say learning solutions, but I think he's going to teach you more about yourself than you're going to learn about anything else you're going to learn through this program. So, Brother Ed, if you have anything else to say, please feel free. We're at the 55-minute mark. We're almost at the hour.
Okay.
So, it's I don't want to keep you too late tonight. You know.
Well, hey, listen. Thank you. I appreciate this time, space, man. And like I said, timing is everything, and
Yes, it is.
everything happens for a reason. And I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah.
So, people, tap in, get with me. Go to edunderwood.me,
There you go.
edunderwood.me, and that's my site where I explain the methodology, and I have the links on there where you could get your learning report, and you can also get the link where you can get on my calendar and meet with me. We could talk. You got some things you want to discuss. I do I have a reading mastery class and a math foundations class. So that's the total package is. You get the learning report, and then in that learning report, most people need help with their reading. So I take them, I use that report. They want to take the reading course. They get I give them a reading assessment,
Mhm.
and then I say, okay, these are the issues that you need to work on, and if you want to work on them with me, then we go through the 3 month program. And if you just want the report, work on it yourself. And we could work something out. Also got a math foundations course because if you can't do math, you can't reason, you can't use logic, we
Yeah,
really don't really have a foundation about how to function in this place that we live called Earth.
that's it.
So
That's
the
it. That's
understanding of the numbers and the functions is critical before you can do anything else. So I take it back to that, and those are what I'm offering, and along with my counseling service. So edunderwood.me, and looking to get with people, help me spread this out like you and whoever
it.
hear this, contact
Nice, nice. All right, y'all heard that. His contact information, I'll leave it also, on the link at the end. That way you can contact him directly. And Ed, once again, my brother, it's been a pleasure. Like I said, I am grateful. We don't use the word humble around here. We use the word grateful. I am totally grateful and honored to meet you and to resonate on a vibrational scale with you that you know we've been able to been we've been able to meet each other through the computer
me.
through a so we're using their technology to keep this ancient energy moving, of passing wisdom and knowledge to each and every one who wants to learn. So once again, I thank you, Ed. I thank everybody for joining and for watching. Please subscribe, please like, please share, and tell a friend. Brother Ed, salute you, King.
Peace.
Peace, 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 my brother. Yes, sir. Thank you. And we are out.